Have you ever felt like you were chasing happiness, or like you've made some really bad choices along the way? Or maybe you're finding yourself in a season of starting over, only to realize that you feel more lost and confused now? If so, you are not alone. I started over 3 times, 3 different states, 3 years in a row, and it was hard. So, after all those moves, I finally learned some pretty hard truths about change, about growth, about reinventing yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'm going to share with you the hard lessons and truths that I have learned starting over every year for 3 years in a row in my 40s. Also, I don't recommend that you do this. Take an easier route, please. So I hope that these insights that I am about to share with you can help you move forward with some ease and some confidence if you are in the season of life of feeling stuck, of not knowing where to go, what to do, what you even want. I hope you can find some value in these lessons. Let's dive right in. The 5 biggest lessons I've learned over the last few years of reinventing myself. Okay, so lesson number 1. The grass is not greener on the other side. I can't tell you how much this rang true for me in moving multiple times, searching for happiness, for all these things that I felt like I was missing. I recently heard this quote from the book Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch, and it was, most people think that they need to leave where they are to get to where they want to be. So they leave heaven to get to heaven and go through hell. That quote really just landed because it took me leaving Oregon to realize that Oregon was home and where I wanted to be. Another quote I've heard, I don't know where I got this one, wherever you go, you take yourself there. All of the things that I was grappling with at home in Oregon, all those things were still there in the new state, in the new house. None of that internal battle disappeared when I moved. So I really felt like I realized that I had been living my life waiting to be happy when. I'll be happy when I have the life partner, when I have the kids. You can go on in that pattern forever. And I literally was living in the I'll be happy when. Yeah, I guess I just really realized that I was missing out on being happy today, because today is all we have, right? And I can also say that I really thought I would be happy when I found my partner. And then I found my partner. And I am happy, don't get me wrong, but that comes with a whole slew of its own issues. I really thought I'd be happy when I finally became a mother. This is something I waited my whole life for. It's like the biggest dream I had. And then I became a mother, and I realized it was not at all what I thought it was going to be like when I was there. And I had such a hard time at first with 3 little kids. I struggled so much to enjoy it. And so this pattern has repeated. I've found myself at the place with the thing, and for some reason still can't seem to enjoy it and find happiness. All of that to say, the grass is not greener on the other side. We do have an inside joke because we moved from Oregon to the South. And to be quite honest, the grass really is greener down there. It's green all the time, and it's much greener than it is here. That's beside the point. Okay, moving right along. So I'd like to know, have you ever chased after happiness or success or an accomplishment and arrived at the place only to realize that it didn't feel like you thought it would feel? Okay, so lesson number 2. There are no wrong choices, only different paths with different lessons. This is something that I feel like I only gained the insight in hindsight, in perspective. And if I'm being really honest, there's even moments that come up now where doing all those moves felt like a really bad choice. There were major repercussions from these moves. In a lot of ways, it can feel like and appear to an outsider to be a failure, a mistake, a wrong choice. What I gained in that time was so much clarity on what's important to me, on where I thrive and where I don't thrive. I gained so much experience, and experience plus clarity equals wisdom. So even though it could look like a failure or a wrong choice, it really brought me so much wisdom and just realigned me to the direction I ultimately wanted to be going. Okay, lesson number 3. Less is more. Things do not matter. People and experiences do. This is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Me and the kids left before Dustin, and we lived pretty much just out of a suitcase for months. And I just really realized how purging, decluttering, getting rid of all the stuff that we had freed up so much mental space for me. I was spending so much time, so much energy, so much focus managing, keeping up with all of our belongings. It never ends. The more you have, the more work your mind has to keep up with it all. I realized that, my goodness, we need so much less than we think we do. The kids do not need closets full of toys. Yeah, so this one is pretty self-explanatory, but I can't stress it enough because it's a big one. The less things you have, the more peace and time and freedom you create for yourself. Another thing on this topic about needing less, I have now pieced together multiple houses with Facebook Marketplace, with furniture given to me. This is true especially for furniture. Easy come, easy go with furniture, you guys. You can replace anything, almost. You really can. And I really take pride now in being able to piece together a home and make a home warm and cozy and comfortable without having to buy anything new. That feels really good to me. That feels purposeful and sustainable. I guess these moves really started me down the minimalism path and just taught me a little bit more about being someone who uses secondhand stuff, who buys used items. And I'm very proud of my growth in that area. And it's okay if you have an empty room. We had an empty living room, you guys. We did not bring couches when we moved here. We turned our living room into a skating rink. And my kids had so much fun when there was no furniture and they just had space and they could skate. And we sat on the floor. I think we had a couch within a month. But the point is, we made do. We didn't just make do. We had fun with our empty room in the meantime while we were searching for our furniture. Less is more. Secondhand, recycled is even better. Okay, it's a new day. I realized late last night when I went to upload my videos that I did not record the second half like I thought I did. Ooh, lessons learned. So here we are. New day, take 2, same sweatshirt. Okay, so lesson number 4. This is one of the hardest ones I have battled with, and that is breaking trust with yourself. When you make a choice that feels like a wrong choice, when you do something that feels like it wasn't aligned or you made a bad call, the trust that's broken internally makes every choice going forward hard. I still battle with this to this day. I'll give you an example. I'm about to move, and there's been so many days and moments that I have questioned, worried, wondered, done the what if scenario in my head. What if it's the wrong one? What if it's the wrong spot? What if it's the wrong town? What if? Building that trust back up once you feel like you disconnected from your intuition, it's a slow build. It's like building a muscle. It takes work and time. A few practical tips for this one that has really helped me. So, if you feel like you have broken trust with yourself, basically, in my opinion, what that means is that you've disconnected from your intuition, from your higher guidance, however you want to put it. And the most practical way to rebuild that internal connection, to trust in your gut, to trust in whatever choices you're making, I have 4 things that I feel like have really helped me. Meditation. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Meditation helps you to reconnect with your truest self. Getting quiet, being silent, clearing the clutter, really, it helps you get clarity, but it also helps you to just release doubt and fear and all of those emotions that you have built up from having this wrong choice that you made. So, meditation really helps. Journaling really helps. I love journaling. Another thing that really has helped me is envisioning my goals. And along with the journaling, envisioning my goals and also scripting. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with scripting, but scripting is basically if you have a goal that you are going for, you write a page to yourself as the person that has achieved that goal. It's the same principle as envisioning your goals. So if you know that you really want a job, I would spend time each day in silence first, journaling about it and envisioning it. Envisioning every detail that you can, and not just envisioning it, but feeling it in your body. So the mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and real life. Top athletes use this envisioning tool when going into major competitions. So envisioning your goals and also writing as if they are already true. All of these practices are just practical little tips and tools that you can use to rebuild that strong intuition that can feel a little damaged after coming off of a wrong choice. Okay, so lesson number 5, the last one I'm going to talk about is growth happens in the hardest times. This is a hard truth. We don't grow when things are going easy and smooth. We don't grow when we're in our comfort zone and doing the same daily chores and habits that we've been doing for years. Growth happens when we force ourselves out of our comfort zone. Growth comes from struggle, and you can see this play out in your muscles. If you want to get stronger, you have to first break down that muscle and then build it back up to make it a bigger, stronger muscle. And I really feel like this is true with people and resilience in life. It's the hard moments that really create the character. It's the hard moments that build the strength of the person. So there's a quote, I'm sure you guys have all heard the quote. It is, hard times create strong men create good times. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is that hard times create strong people. This is when resilience is built. This is when we see the biggest transformations, is after some of the darkest and hardest times. And I think it's natural to avoid change and always want to stay in your comfort zone. This is a very natural tendency that we have, for our body wants to keep us safe. Don't go out of your comfort zone. But avoiding change is the same as avoiding growth. If you are in a really hard season and you are having a hard time, remember that it is the hard times that build the strong men. Remember that this is shaping you, not breaking you. And one of my favorite quotes of all times is, "This too shall pass." So, last lesson, growth happens in hard moments, hard times, hard seasons. Okay, and the last thing I will say, this is my bonus tip, is mindset and resilience is everything. No matter the circumstances, the finances, the location, the struggles you are facing, it doesn't matter what it is. Your mindset really is everything. It determines everything. And the good news about this is that we have control over our mindset. We can change it. We can work on it. That's not to say that mindset shifts happen overnight, or easily for that matter, but it is good to know that we do have some control, and that even in the hardest of times and moments, we can choose to look for some positive. We can always find something to be grateful for, and we can try to find meaning in the hard times. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book, A Man's Search for Meaning. It's an incredible story about a man who survived the Holocaust and concentration camps and still found meaning and purpose in his life and his experience. And that book really was insightful to me. That book has really helped me, and just is always a little bit of a reminder in the back of my head when we naturally want to be the victims sometimes. And it can be very valid. This is not fair. I didn't ask for this. I tend to very easily fall into victim mode. I am very guilty of this. And this is something that I have had to work on and become aware of, finding the silver lining even in the hardest times. And it really does come down to just one thing: your mindset. That's it. The only constant is change. Change is inevitable. Change is good. If we resist the change, we will suffer more. If we embrace the change and work on our mindset, then we will grow. Okay, so just a quick recap of the 5 most powerful lessons I've learned over the last few years of moving, of starting over. Number 1, the grass is not greener. Number 2, there are no wrong choices. Number 3, things do not matter. Number 4, breaking trust with yourself is hard, but it can absolutely be rebuilt. And number 5, hard times bring growth. And finally, mindset, resilience, it determines everything. So if you are in a season of change or struggle, take a deep breath, be gentle on yourself, remind yourself that this too will pass, that you are exactly where you need to be, and that you are going through a transformation, and you will be better on the other side. Please comment below if you are going through a season of change, or if you've made a big wrong choice. What are the lessons you learned? What are some of the things that helped you get through it? I would love to have a conversation with you in the comments below. And subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this on growth, simplicity, and deep, soulful living.